Hello, this is Mr. Bernardo here, and in this video tutorial I will quickly show you how to set up your files for an edit in Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. I will show you how to manage your files, specifically where to put your video files and where to put your Premiere edit. And lastly, I will show you how to export your edit as a viewable video file so that everybody could see. When managing files for an edit, it's very, very important that you do so, and you do so rigorously and effectively. And I'm going to show you how this looks like when it's all said and done. So we're going to take a look at the grade 11 folder right here, and we're going to take a look at the Premiere Pro Old Edit folder. You'll notice here that there are two folders here, one in which is something that Adobe puts into your folder, which is the Premiere Pro preview files. The footage is basically, when you click on this is where all your video footage is going to be. I would highly recommend creating a folder for your video footage. It just keeps your whole folder completely clean. This is the Premiere Pro file, and the Premiere Pro file actually uses the files that are in the footage files to make the assembly for the sequence. And then lastly, there's the video file that we exported and that we could play. And this is also in the folder. Now if I go up a level right here, you have to note that this is the parent folder. The parent folder is something that's very important because that's the folder in which everything is contained. So when you double click on the parent folder, you have all these file folders in here. I'll show you the importance of the parent folder when we set up Premiere Pro. This is our last edit, and what we want to do is we want to create a new edit in this folder right here, Lesson Premiere Pro CS6, setting files up. So I'm going to double click on this one right here, and we have an empty folder right here. And basically what we want to do is we want to create a folder for all the footage. So we can go to the top and click on New Folder, or we can right click and go to New and Folder, and I'm going to type in Footage right here. Now what we want to do is we want to copy paste all of our video files into this footage folder. So I'm going to go to the USB key that says video files right here. I'm going to select all these video files. I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy them, and then I'm going to go to the parent folder, this one right here, Lesson Premiere Pro setting files up. Go to the footage folder, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste all my video files in here. I'm going to go to the parent folder like so, and so far all you have in here is one folder with all your video footage. Now the next step is to open Premiere Pro, and you're faced with two decisions. You can either open a project or you can do a new project. And basically the main thing that we have to know is that when I click on this button right here, it's going to default to the previous edit. Okay, this is very important because if a student was using a computer in the previous lesson, you will automatically put your stuff into his or her own video file, because that's what it's going to default to. So I'm going to click on the Browse button right here, and I'm going to go to the main folder, and we're going to go to the folder that we want right here. Alright, this is the parent folder. It's important that you don't double click and click on the footage folder, or else all the files will go into the footage folder. So we're going to go back to the parent folder right here, and the last button that you're going to select for the parent folder is Select Folder, and this is where everything will be saved. And we'll give this a name that we could recognize. And when we click OK, basically we are faced with the new sequence window right here. And in the sequence window, you're going to have a whole bunch of different settings, but not to fear, because Adobe Premiere Pro is fairly forgiving. But we're using DSLR footage that's 1080p and 30 frames per second, and we're going to type in the sequence name. We're going to name the sequence something that we could recognize. This is very important because later on when you export your files, the sequence name will be the default name of what your video file will be named. But before we click OK, I'm going to purposely choose a setting that the video files are not, and DSLR 1080 and 25 frames a second. And I'm going to click OK, and we'll see what happens with Premiere Pro. So click OK, and Premiere goes to work writing all the files into the Premiere folder. And it looks like this right here. So now we have this additional file that was created by Premiere, and we have basic edit format right here. Now, what I want to do is I want to import the video files so I can put them into the timeline. I can go to File, Import. I can go to Control I, or I could right click on the workspace right here and go to Import. So basically I'm being taken to where I set the original file in Premiere Pro, and I want to go to the footage folder. And because the footage folder is a folder with only the footage right here, it's clean, there's no other Premiere folders that we don't have to worry about. You can click and drag to select them all and click on Open, and everything starts to be imported into Premiere Pro. Now I'm going to deselect these files right here. I'm going to click on one. Now I'm ready to drag in a video clip into the timeline, and we know that from before that I purposely made a mistake with regards to choosing the wrong setting with regards to the sequence. So I'm going to click on the video clip right here, and I'm going to drag it into the timeline. I'm going to let go, and it gives you a question right here: change sequence to match the clip settings, in which case you always choose change the sequence settings. Premiere is fairly good with figuring out what the settings are of the files that you're editing with and changing the whole sequence to match that. On occasion Premiere has been wrong, but it's fairly good, so always choose change sequence settings. I will quickly do an edit. Alright, the edit is now finished. I will show you a few more specifics with regards to editing when we get into that in another video tutorial. But for now, suffice it to say, we have a quick edit, which is just two clips that are strung together like so. What we have to notice here that before we export it right here, we want this to match the entire length of the Premiere edit right here, and it snaps to the very end of where the Premiere edit is. Go to the top and go to File, Export Media. And remember what I said about Premiere always going to the file of the previous person. What you want to do is you want to click on this. This is the previous person's folder who edited on Premiere last. So we want to go to our own folder. So you want to click on this folder right here, which is our own folder. And remember how I said earlier that the name of the sequence is what the name of the MP4 will be called. Press Save. And the last thing I want to do is I want to change the sequence settings. I want to choose an MP4 with Vimeo settings. It's always a good go-to sequence setting. So click on H.264 to make it an MP4, and click on the drop down, and you go all to the very bottom. Okay, and I've already selected it previously, and it's Vimeo HD 1080p, so it's 1080 lines of resolution, 29.9 frames per second, and now it can export to the folder that you want. So just a reminder, when you click on output name right here, this does two things. It gives you a chance to rename the file, and it gives you a chance of directing where the file will go when you do a final edit. Press Save, press Export. And now lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look into the folder right here, and here is the final video file right here. So here's the parent file. There's a footage file where we put all our video footage in. The Premiere edit named lesson is right here for the Premiere Pro project, and this is the final video file that you exported as an H.264 format. There you have it, managing your files in Adobe Premiere Pro.